enjoying my dad's videos, make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
We're good to go. Hello from Texas. Waiting for Dr. Charlie Ward. Charlie!
Hello, buddy.
How are you?
I'm great. You?
I'm good, man. Dude, you know what? Every time I do these lives, it's like I can't get people to get on correctly, man. Every single time. But you did it. All right, we're good.
We got there. We got there.
Man, how you been, Charlie?
I've been great. Absolutely great.
So we got about an hour on here to, do this interview or whatever, but it'll start counting down towards the last couple minutes, and then I'll tell you for any last thoughts or anything you want to share with everybody who's joining us. I'll try to answer some questions while we're talking because it's going live right now, and so people are going to ask questions. But I'm actually more excited about this interview than you can imagine because you have a lot of inside intel. You're the one that introduced me to. Well, Denise introduced me to you, and you brought on King John III. Who's going to be taking over Queen Elizabeth. Am I correct? Is that what's happening?
Well, at the moment, he's submitted all his documents to the courts, and they've got 21 days in which to respond. And at the moment, they haven't responded, which we expected. We expected them not to respond. So at the moment, I'm just waiting to see what happens because he submitted his claim through the courts, and we're now waiting to see exactly what happens.
So, but King John, what's his full name again for the audience?
Joseph Gregory Hallett.
Joseph Gregory Hallett, and I happened to speak to his sister, and she said, and I want to cover all bases here, Charlie, just so we're not leaving anything out. But I really want to believe this guy, and I know you believe him, right?
No, at the moment, I'm completely 50-50. I've had our guys go there to do the research to find out what the truth is. And I've just been watching what happens, that's all.
Okay.
I have a very open mind, and your mind is like a parachute. It's absolutely useless when it's closed.
I love that. Man, I got to use that. That's a good one.
Just
I've never heard that before.
At the moment, he's submitted all the documentation. Let's wait and see what comes out of it. It's a fascinating claim. This is what happens when you lock people like you and me down. We get locked into a room that we're told not to look in a certain cupboard. The first thing we do is have a look in that cupboard.
Absolutely.
We've opened up this cupboard, and it's fascinating to see what's there. But at the moment, we're just doing all the research that we possibly can to find out what the truth is.
So, but we do know the royal family has been taken down. Am I correct?
Well, on the face of it, they've moved out of Buckingham Palace. The Queen, they've used COVID-19 as an excuse. There's nothing, as you probably know, there's nothing in the mainstream media. You have to go and dig around. And of course, Harry and Meghan disappearing in a hurry was strange in itself. And then the Queen going into indefinite quarantine is another strange thing. And just the lack of presence of the royal family in these difficult times is unusual. So people are starting to read into what's actually going on. And at the moment, there's a lot of very strange things that are happening. And we're trying
Buckingham Palace is basically empty right now, right? It's
empty. The windows are all boarded up. It's a very strange situation. And it's very difficult at this stage to actually judge what is happening. Because the mainstream media, as we all know, are all in bed together, along with the deep state, the cabal, etc. So it's impossible to get it from the mainstream. You have to go to channels on YouTube and other platforms to find out anything at all away from the narrative.
Got you. For my audience that doesn't know you, Charlie, could you give your credentials, how you met the king? You're an investigative journalist, am I correct?
No, I work behind the scenes. I move currency for governments mainly. That's my main.
You move currency for governments, okay.
Yeah. And you come into contact with some very, very good people, ambassadors, diplomats, etc., and you get lumbered with them for days working on certain deals, and you become good friends with them. So you find out stuff that you wouldn't find out otherwise. But I found out an awful lot of stuff as people that know me and who've watched me. I said that this was going to happen last year. I was told this last year.
You were told last year that everything that's happening right now would happen.
Correct. So when people say you're a conspiracy theorist, I say, well, not really. I was told this is going to happen, and it happened. So how can that be a conspiracy?
Absolutely. So right now, I guess what we're looking at, we're on a hold. We're not on a hold. We're actually in a global reset, and that is what's happening right now. So we are moving towards it. So from what I understand, I'm backtracking a little bit here, but Trump during this COVID-19 is taking down the royal family. From what I understand, the royal family, the Vatican, using COVID to do so. Am I correct? He's using the pandemic to push forth his agenda of taking all these deep state criminals down.
That's how I understand it. I was told right from day one that they were going to collapse the world's economy, and I was like, "Yeah, of course you are." Like, yeah, really?
Yeah.
And then suddenly, when what they told me starts to happen, you start to sort of wake up to, hang on a second, this is happening. And when you consider that the COVID-19 that was put on us in March of this year, suddenly on the 11th of March, it was downgraded officially by the British government, by the American government, by the WHO, by the CDC, by all the authorities as to nothing more than the flu. It's amazing that they shut down the world's economy on a virus that was no worse than the common cold. But it proved to me what I'd been told was true, that they were going to shut down the world's economy. I just never dreamt it would be that easy to do. But when you've got the mainstream media and corrupt government working in cahoots, that's how they do it.
So I'm curious, Charlie, was this something that Trump, I guess he inherited it or he intercepted it and he's making it work for him? Was this a globalist hit? And initially this was a globalist hit, correct?
Originally, the virus was created by the deep state, the Democrats, etc. And you have to understand the principle that it came out of Wuhan. It came out of a laboratory. Whether it was let out on purpose, whether it was an accident, we'll never know. But you have to understand that Fauci and the CIA funded that laboratory in Wuhan. So then you wake up to, okay, that's not what I expected. So you can see where the funding came from. Now the state and the Democrats created this situation with COVID-19, and Trump and his team were planning to shut down the world's economy, but later in the year, probably about now. But they jumped on it and turned it to their own advantage, and they've done an amazing job. Now, the situation that Trump has found himself in, he was personally selected to do this job. He was selected well in advance to literally take down the deep state and the cabal. This was planned for many, many years by many, many people.
Yeah, he was. That's where Q would come in, correctly. So Q is, people have stated that Q, or the if you want to call it to people that don't know, they'll call it a conspiracy, but to most people that are in the know, Q handpicked him as the brand to run for president. Correct? Was it post 9/11 or pre 9/11 that they picked Trump to run for president?
I don't know. I don't know when they chose him, but I know that it was a process that he was the right man for the job because he was a narcissist and an egomaniac that was perfectly cut out, and also financially strong enough that he didn't need to take funding from the deep state.
he's basically, I mean, a lot of people don't want to hear this, but he's basically saving the world right now. I mean, that's really what's going on.
Totally agree with that.
Okay.
That is spot on the money.
So right now we're in this global reset, and during this time, I guess there's two agendas at play. We're like in a silent, I wouldn't say really silent, but it's a World War III, a war for consciousness, a war for people's minds. You got the mainstream media pulling us one way, or pulling the sheeple one way, actually, the people that are mind controlled by the mainstream media, and other people have to go and find their media in different avenues like this right here, what we're doing. But so I believe it's a war for the mind, and we're in this, all Americans and the whole entire fucking world is being held hostage right now for this agenda, for these two agendas to battle it out and see who wins. Now, saying that, who's winning? Who do you think is winning right now, Charlie?
Well, Trump is not just winning; he's actually won. But we're in the end game. There's absolutely no chance of Trump losing. Absolutely no chance.
You firmly believe that from your sources?
I know that 100% to be correct.
So what's with the election? Like, why are we even having an election? Like, I know we have to have an election, but he's just doing it for theater?
It's all part of the show. It's all part of the show. Now, I don't know how the election will actually take place, because of the simple fact that when I asked the question as to what was going to happen with the election and what was happening with Biden, etc., I was told the election will be like nothing you've ever seen before. That was what they replied to me. Now, what that means, I don't know.
Wow, so this is going to be something we've never seen before. I'm thinking, I asked you in the other show, Charlie, when we were talking, I asked you, and you put my nerves at ease, actually. But I asked you, I said, I felt that we're going to be heading towards a civil war. I felt that that's coming. I feel like there's going to be a lot of civil unrest. But if Trump wins, I believe he'll put out the fire very quickly. If he loses, then forget it. We're going into a civil war that could last for a decade or decades. What's your thoughts on that?
He won't lose. There's absolutely no chance of him losing. Most people in America are completely oblivious to the fact that in the last election that he won just, or by a smaller margin, had Hillary Clinton not tried to fiddle the figures and fix it, he'd have actually won by a complete landslide.
Yeah, she did. She tried to steal the election and still failed.
Exactly right.
So these takedowns that are happening under the cover of COVID, we got Obama, we got Hillary, we got Petalwood, Hollywood going down. We got all these big names, all these CEOs stepping down. Can you elaborate on that a little bit, Charlie, on what's going on with these high CEOs, Hillary Clinton, all these big names that are going down? What's the intel you're getting on that?
Well, it's a very, very well thought out plan, and they're taking them down in a certain order. And one of the critical things was to take out very, very early on was the corrupt barristers, lawyers, and judges. That was the first step. And these people, we wouldn't know who they were. So
So like the infrastructure.
The infrastructure needed to be taken down first. So they had nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. So that makes a lot of sense. And now we're getting to the back end where they're taking down the big names. And it's very, very clever that Ghislaine Maxwell was taken down at the time she was taken down, because they'll point the finger at her, saying, "Oh, she's grassed you up." And
I heard a judge. Go ahead.
You and I both know that there's nothing worse than a woman scorned.
Oh, jeez, I know that. I know that too well.
As one dangerous woman, I promise you.
Oh, fuck. I tell you what, man, just let them win the arguments, and then if you ever do anything bad to them, leave the fucking country. I don't know. I tell you what, man, I know we both know that, but I'm telling you, Charlie, I feel like I know you keep telling me, and I got other sources telling me that Trump has won. It's a chess game. He's already won. He's got the checkmate. But we're watching all this shit unfold, and it looks to me like the deep state is basically just, they know they've lost and they're playing their last moves, but they're getting ready to just knock over the chessboard. It seems to me they want chaos. Yeah,
of course they do. That's exactly what they want, and they're in trouble. you know, we're seeing the end game play out, and it's fascinating to watch it. It's absolutely amazing to watch it, and yeah, they're panicking like crazy. I mean, they're absolutely. You look at Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and that lot; they're absolutely paranoid. They never dreamt this would happen. The Democrats thought that there was such an easy win against Trump, and they can't believe what's actually happening to them. And of course, once Trump got into power, he could start dismantling the corruption. Of course, when you start taking it down, you actually find out there's far more corruption than you ever dreamt there was. We knew there was a lot, but we never dreamt it was so bad.
It's just everybody who's in power. It seems like everybody's been compromised, and it looks like, you know, people need to understand it's not just the Democrats. It's the Democrats and the Republicans. The deep state has their tentacles in every facet of your life. And what Trump is doing is he upset the apple cart. You know, he upset the apple cart, and here we are now dealing with this, being held hostage while this all cleans out. But the thing that I'm confused on, and that you've told me and you stated that we are moving into Nasara Jasara, right?
That's what I understand.
And what does that entail, Charlie? Does that mean all debts are forgiven? Does that mean the IRS is gone in America? Does that mean...
We're waiting to find out. I've had a number of interviews. I was speaking to Lee, who has Pimpy Investment Channel, the other day, and he's had $150,000 debt just disappear.
Yeah.
So I've heard it firsthand, and he's one of probably a dozen people, but he's got a high profile. So we're starting to see things happen, but as I said many times, I'm not the Messiah, I'm just Charlie, and this is based on factual information that I'm getting from people. I was just told early on that this is the way we were heading, and I'm trying to watch and see what's happening factually and getting information factually from people that's happening. I've had many people tell me student loans have disappeared. I've had people in the United Kingdom who tell me that debts from years ago that they've had around their neck for years have just suddenly vanished, and nobody can explain where they've gone.
I heard that and I've gone on the national debt clock, and the numbers are reversing.
Yeah.
On some of what's the story with that? I've looked at it, I've watched it. I've never really looked at it before, so I don't have any point of reference. But it looks like personal debt is going down, correct?
I have no idea. I've looked at it and I find it fascinating. But you know, those sort of things are very, very easy for a computer geek to put up. And at the end of the day, it comes down to our personal debt. You know, I borrows money. I have never done that for years and years. I haven't had a mortgage since I was very young. I only buy things that I can afford to buy. I come from that sort of mentality. My father was very strict on that you only buy what you can afford to have. And it's stood me in good stead that I don't have mortgages, I don't have loans. If I want something, I save up and buy it for cash. That's how I am. So I'm not in the position where I'm looking at my bank seeing if my loans or mortgages, whatever, have disappeared. So for me personally, it's not there. But it's fascinating to see, and it's fascinating. The one thing that's very, very certain is the fact that we're not being told the truth by the governments and by the mainstream media. That's very, very clear. And I've stopped watching mainstream media altogether for 16 weeks now. And number one, I feel so much happier inside when I'm not listening to bullshit.
Yeah.
And when you want to find out information, you start researching it. It's amazing what you can uncover. You can find an awful lot of information out there when you start to look. And then you have to look inside yourself and make a judgment based on the information you're getting to see how you feel about yourself. And when you make that judgment, you know what feels right. If your moral compass is accurate, you know what feels right and what feels wrong.
I tell you what, man, I really feel very optimistic on everything that's happening right now. I feel like this fight is a fight we're winning, even though it looks like, if you watch the mainstream media, it seems like we're fucking losing.
Of course it does. Mainstream media.
Yeah.
They want to cause chaos and fear. That's all they want to do. And as long as it distracts, it's like Donald Trump the other day wearing a mask, and you just go, that was an absolute peach of a move. It was a brilliant move because it distracted away from the financial reset that was actually going on, and the change in the banking system that was actually going on. Those things were going on, and it completely distracted. And of course, then the mask disappeared. And it's like, oh, you have to understand with Trump that when he's causing a little bit of a noise over here, he's doing something over there.
Yeah, he's a masterful chess player, man. I mean, it's actually very brilliant to watch. And what I also heard is that he was also wearing a mask to show people, like, listen, you're going to be able to get out and vote.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to go out and vote and social distance and be able to stand in line and go get this done. Am I correct on that? That's why he was wearing it?
Totally. He's also confusing the opposition. They don't know what he's up to. They haven't got a clue what he's doing.
Well, I'll say that I was even confused. I was even confused. I was looking at it. I was like, what's he doing?
I just laughed, and I thought, what is he doing over there? The minute he does something like that, I just look and say, what? Okay, ignore that. What's he doing over there? These are red flags. They bring your attention to one side when he's doing something over there.
Right. Brilliant.
There'll be plenty more coming as well.
What's that?
There'll be plenty more distractions coming.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a boxer. You do little nothing when you're waiting for the big one to come over the top.
Yeah. Y'all 100%. Yeah. I mean, it's boxing, that's why I enjoy this so much, because boxing is a high-speed chess match.
Of course it is.
High speed, and you pay with your life. I mean, if you get knocked out, you can die in there, man. I mean, boxing is the most brutal, most honest game there is.
Exactly.
And we were talking about that earlier before we got on here. I mean, in a lot of ways, a boxer's heart is so passionate and open that it's also his downfall. It could be you fight with all your heart, and it can be bad in business deals because you think with your heart. And that's a lot of fighters are that way. But Trump, to me, seems like just a masterful chess player, masterful counter puncher. He knew this was coming, because I remember him always saying, this is the calm before the storm. This is the calm before the storm. Now, here we are. Now, everyone knows we are in the storm. This man has been planning his attack, his counterattack, knowing that these pieces of shit, this deep state, was going to go in for a full grab. They went for 2 impeachments. They couldn't get it. And now here they go. Boom. Let's give them the virus.
Exactly.
And from what I'm seeing how this has played out, all of Trump's moves are very covert, and we're not allowed to see it. The people are kind of left in the dark. So people watching the mainstream media are watching this and thinking to themselves, shit, we're losing. We're not, we're losing. Trump is behind. Trump's going to lose the election. But speaking to people like you that have some inside information, you are telling everyone basically, calm down. Everything's okay. We're going to be okay. Trump knows what he's doing. He's already won the chess game.
He's way ahead of the chess game. Way ahead. Well, what we're seeing now is the end game being played out. There's a lot going on behind the scenes.
What do you think about Pelosi saying that she will remove Trump at all costs, forcibly remove him?
Oh, that's what she's desperate to do.
Because she knows she's going down too, correct?
She knows 100%. If she doesn't get rid of him, she's going down.
They're all done.
So it's a desperate bid, She knows what she's facing if she doesn't get rid of him. And she made it very clear to the Democrats she would get rid of him.
That's scary, man. When I watched that, I was like, she looks like some kind of like swamp creature. Like, seriously, when you look at her, it's like, I see evil in that woman. Totally. I don't know how the fuck anybody who watches that woman can call themselves, have her representing the Democratic Party the way she does, or AOC, or any of the people like Beto O'Rourke, Biden. These people are all like minions, like Satan's minions. You know what I mean? Like, they just reek of evil.
Yeah, they do. They do. But you only understand that when you appreciate what good is.
Yeah, I agree.
And you start to see then the difference between what's good and what's evil, and you can see just personifying itself right there. It's just it's frightening how evil they really are. But no, they've lost the battle, and for me, it's quite fun to sit back and just watch it. because they're desperate. They're really desperate.
Oh, they're going on. They're dying. They're dying, and this is what I call the dead cat roll. You know what I mean? It's like it's the last breath of this. Well, I say these creatures that are so demonic and so sick, and they'll do anything to take down America, because America was the last prize. It was the last domino before they control everything.
The one thing she's overlooking, you know, she might dislike Trump. She may well hate his guts, but the majority of the American public voted for him. She's a minority.
Absolutely. Even
when they fix the figures, she's in the minority.
So, what do you think their tactic is to try to win the election this time? I know they don't want Biden to debate Trump because he'll get fucking he'll look like an ass clown. So they don't want him to debate Trump on a live arena. So what do you think their tactic is? And I know they want to do mail-in voting, but it looks like that could be even backfiring on them now. So what's next? So what do you think? What in your mind, Charlie? What do you think they're going to do? What do you think their next moves are?
They're going to throw everything they possibly can, but the trouble is they fired all their bullets far too early. As I said before, they were rubber bullets. And when you put a gun in the hand of an 80-year-old that's as thick as shit, with rubber bullets in your gun, not much use really, is it? They've already fired all their bullets. They've got no bullets left. All they've now got is an empty gun, which they're trying to throw at him. That's not going to have any effect. And he's just going to take the piss out of them.
Well, I do know that Bank of America gave BLM $1 billion, and to me, that's money that's going to be used for chaos, and to prepare them for like some, they're going to probably arm the fuck out of these guys, and it's going to be, in my mind, more looting, more rioting, and probably weaponry involved, war money basically. So, what do you think? BLM gave them $1 billion. NFL gave them $250 million. That money's going to be put to use, and I think, I'm getting, as well as Charlie, we're looking at September, October to be, I'm guessing it's going to be highly intensified, highly chaotic.
Well, you have to look at where BLM gets its money from. It gets it from Soros and the Clinton Foundation. That's where the money comes from, and it's going to the Biden campaign. And I don't see any one of those three, Clinton, Soros, Biden, as being black.
Right.
It's a political stunt.
Yeah.
Stupid. And yes, they're going to try and cause riots and chaos, but if you look at it, in America, it's very easy to work it out, because all the trouble is all in Democrat-run states.
See, Charlie, I still feel like, you say not to worry, but I feel like September, October is going to be hellacious. I know you say Trump already won, but I just don't think it's going to be an easy take like that. I just see this going in a bad direction.
It's not going to be easy. There will be riots. There will definitely be riots, because they want to cause confusion and fear and chaos. That's what they want to do. So it's quite simple. Just stay out of the way for the time being. It's like being in the Third World War. In the Second World War, when the Germans came over England, you didn't go down the pub, you didn't go over with your mates, you got underneath your bed and you kept yourself a low profile. When the shit's going on out there, common sense kicks in. You go, we need to protect ourselves and keep ourselves away from trouble. It's not rocket science. And when the trouble hits, when they try and cause all this chaos and cause all this fear, it's better just to stay at home and just keep out of the way. And in the end, they'll end up killing themselves.
And that's what's going to happen. They're going to go down fighting and take down everybody with them, huh?
They'll take down people that are out there, but you're better off staying out of the way. It is a war. It's a Third World War. People get killed in war. This is a fact.
People don't understand that we are in World War III right now.
100%. It's a spiritual war as well, between good and evil. So it's a time to use common sense and just say, when there's riots out there, it's not the time to be going out into town when there's riots going on. Let them fight amongst themselves. Let them cause chaos amongst themselves, but be aware of what's going on and stay out of the way.
And they just need one incident, and then they'll take that incident to kick off the Civil War. They'll take that incident. I'm expecting it to happen sometime late August.
Oh, they'll do it many, many times before the election to cause chaos. Of course they will.
Yeah.
And they'll blame it all on whether it's black against white, whether it's Christian against Muslim, whether it's man against woman. They'll blame it on something. It's just division. That's all they're trying to do.
Another thing too, when I talked to you, we were talking about Kanye West and him creating the birthday party and doing all that, and your thoughts on that, and you opened my eyes to it a little bit. I was like, yeah, this is a move for Trump. This would obviously be a logical move for Trump, but Charlie, you can't have Kanye West breaking down, man. He's fucking breaking down in public. I mean, this is fucking embarrassing. The guy's got to keep it together.
Yeah, exactly. This is the world we're living in. It's absolute crazy chaos. And for me, I just sit back and smile and just go, you couldn't even make this shit up.
You can't. You cannot.
Look, for me, I'm enjoying watching snippets of it because I see it on the internet. I just don't watch the mainstream media at all. I look on the internet, and of course, those things pop up, and you look at it and just go, yeah, what? How on earth did you?
It's fucking crazy. It's like a circus of like mutants. I've never seen anything like this shit. I mean, every day it's like, what's gonna happen today? I mean, a spaceship's gonna land with pink elephants flying out of it. I mean, it's absolutely insane. It's insanity.
It is, and we're blessed enough to be living through it and seeing it firsthand.
Yeah, it's an epic time to be alive, man. It's biblical. I believe we're living in the Revelations. It has to be. Totally.
And the thing is, with a war, there's always two sides. Yeah. And they've been in control for 400 years. They're not going to give up easy.
Is that the number, 400 years? I mean, I would think.
Yes, the deep state has been in control.
Yeah. I've heard that also. I don't know if you have any intel on this, but I've heard a lot of Masons are being taken down. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's very, very true. Very, very true. Because they're all part of it. It's all part of the deep state.
Right.
We tend to know the big names at the top of the tree from the Vatican, from the royal family, from the Federal Reserve, like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, George Soros. We know all the big names. But of course, there's a lot of names we wouldn't know who they were, who are part of the deep state, who are their foot soldiers.
So, I mean, they're going to be releasing documents to Ghislaine Maxwell open to the public in the next week?
Yeah.
So that's going to be open for everybody to look at. But people are too damn lazy to look at that shit. So hopefully enough of people get it and put the names out there. So it's going to be what? The flight logs, the sexual acts, I guess?
She has the information on everything. And it's been very, very clear that because once she was refused bail, she became very, very cooperative.
Oh, wow.
So she'll sing like a canary.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully we keep her alive. But...
Exactly.
What do you think, Charlie, on... what's I heard Trump coming out and saying, hey, we're going to push the vaccine as fast as we can.
Another red flag. Another red flag.
Another red flag?
Yeah, it's all about the hydrochloroquine. Chloroquine, yeah. It's all that's what he's calling the vaccine. But, it's all to distract and to confuse. It's very much like playing chess. He's confusing the opposition by making statements like that. And they're all over the place. They don't know what the hell's going on. And with respect, that they share a brain cell. They're not the brightest people in the world.
Well, here's the thing, Charlie, is that I know that Trump defunded the WHO, right? World Health Organization. And then, now I haven't looked into this, but is he, and I've heard this through hearsay and rumors, is he funding the Bill Gates Foundation now?
No. This again is another smokescreen. It's another thing to distract and to get people thinking, what's he up to? It's put out there to completely confuse. What
That's bullshit.
he'll be setting up a new organisation that will not be funded by big pharmaceutical companies, but will be funded by governments.
So what's okay? So where's Bill Gates? Is Bill Gates? Where does he fit into all this? Where is Bill Gates? Where does he fit into all this? What are we going to do with Bill Gates? What is coming down the pipeline with Bill Gates, from what you know?
Bill Gates will very clearly be arrested, and I believe he already has been arrested and charged, because he's got massive crimes against humanity. Forget about America, he's killed many children in India and in Africa with his vaccines. And it's very, very interesting that, very simple fact, that all of the people that died of COVID-19 had the flu vaccine. All of them. Not 99.9%.
Wow.
And not one person died who had not had a vaccine.
That's so interesting, man. Unbelievable. So they've all been vaccinated.
Every single person that died of COVID-19 had been vaccinated against the flu.
Are you serious?
I am 100% serious, and that's documented on the WHO website, on the CDC website, and on the British government website. It's clearly documented.
I haven't heard that. That's amazing. Wow.
If that doesn't wake people, nothing will.
Man, dude, I've always been against vaccines. I've never taken them.
Yeah.
It's a big red flag to me when the government, when you can drive by Walgreens or something like that and it says free vaccinations. Come on in. It's like, come on, man. This is unbelievable.
Exactly. It's absolutely. And they're trying to roll out a vaccine. Bill Gates is trying to roll out a vaccine that has never been tested on humans. Never. And they want to roll it out worldwide. You go, are you absolutely stupid? So you want to use the whole world as your guinea pig when it hasn't even been trialed?
So this plan that Bill Gates is, would you say he's spearheading this New World Order with vaccine? Yeah. So we're going to say, I've heard the head of Deep State was John McCain. That's what I heard was the head of the Deep State. I heard that from Steinbart told me that. Austin Steinbart told me that. Would you agree that John McCain was the head of the Deep State for a long time before, and he was murdered, but basically he was taken out by Trump?
I would suggest that he was probably one of the top boys, because then you look at the British royal family, they're right at the top of the Deep State. You look at the Pope, who was right at the top of the Deep State. There was a number of them right at the very, very top. And I don't know if anybody actually knows who there's a number of figureheads that are right at the top of the Deep State. It was called the Illuminati beforehand, before it got rebranded to the Deep State. So there's a number of people at the top of it in different countries.
So, but what I'm trying to figure out too, Charlie, is someone just brought up a question on here. They said George Bush Sr.
Yeah, he's definitely 100%.
Was he taken out though? Did he die of old age, or did they take him out?
That sort of thing, I don't think, it's a bit like the O.J. Simpson thing. You knew he was guilty, but you knew he'd get away with it. With George W. Bush, whether he was killed, whether he died, people will always debate that, and we'll probably never find out the truth, ever. But situations like that, it's like Epstein, not Epstein, the other one, the guy that was it Epstein that was killed or died?
Yeah.
In jail cell. You'll never find out if he actually died, whether he was killed, or whether he's actually still alive. We'll find out if he's alive, if his head pops up in a court case or something. But those sort of things, it's virtually impossible to find out the truth unless you know him personally and have met him.
Charlie, I wanted to ask you, if you're comfortable about talking about it right now, but you sent me a text earlier today. You want to talk about it with the public?
Yeah, no problem at all.
Okay, well, it was kind of a warning. It was a warning on what's to come. And, I like to give my audience, the best info that I can. So, and you're absolutely a great source for me. I have a lot of sources, but you're one of the top of the sources. Could you explain a little bit what that text involved that you gave me today about, I guess, the reset that's occurring right now, and what a potential blackout that's coming?
Yeah, look, I get certain intel, and so far the intel I've had has been accurate. And the global financial reset is currently in process this week. It's actually going ahead this week, from what I understand. I understand that earlier this week, the new USN, the new US note, became public knowledge, but not widespread. It's known within the banking circles that it's backed by gold. It's the new currency. The Americans probably won't know anything different, apart from they'll see a new $100 bill or a new $50 bill or whatever.
But it won't say Federal Reserve on it, correct?
It won't say Federal Reserve on it.
Because the Federal Reserve has been absorbed by the Treasury.
Correct.
But it's going to run simultaneously with the Treasury until...
There'll be a period where they run side by side. Obviously, as a transition, and how long that transition will be, I just don't know. There'll be a period of darkness, but nobody quite knows what that means as to whether it'll be, a shutdown of the internet or whether it'll be a shutdown of communications. Nobody yet knows, because that will be kept incredibly secret as to how and when that will happen. And there's a lot of talk now behind the scenes that they may well be able to do it without the blackout. So that there's no, because if you imagine the world without the internet, without television, they would panic like crazy if they didn't know what was going on. People like you and I who are aware about what's going on will go, fine, in a couple of 3 days' time we'll be back online. It'll be interesting to see how we come back. For those who have not caught up to speed, there'll be massive panic. And that's what Trump and his team don't want to create, is massive panic. The deep state are creating panic right now and pandemonium. But he's trying to manage it. Well, they are managing it incredibly well. But it'll be fascinating to see how it plays out, based on the information that we've got. That things are changing, and they're changing for the better. But the deep state, the old system, are fighting like crazy
to stay alive.
Yeah, of course. They'll fight with every last breath.
I heard that when the Jasara comes through, that we're going to release suppressed technology.
There'll be a lot of new technology, and he mentioned it very briefly the other day in some speech he said, because there's what's known as med beds.
Okay.
Which they've been blocked by the Bill Gates Foundation. They've been blocked for years. And a med bed is basically a medical bed that you can lay on. It scans your whole body, and they can tell what's wrong, and they can actually put it right very, very easily.
I've also heard age regression.
Totally.
That people don't know that this technology exists. That age regression, that they can, I'm from what I've heard from my sources, that the technology does exist for a human being to live up to 250 years and age regress them to where they look 32, 33 years old. Am I correct? Have you heard that?
Can you imagine having Nancy Pelosi around for 250 years?
Fuck.
There's a limit. I'm 60, and the normal lifespan is 70 years. I should be very happy when 70 years, my father's still alive at 86 years old, and my grandfather died at 90 something years old, and so we have sort of good genes for lasting a long time. But I don't have any thoughts on wanting to be here any longer. It's been a tough 60 years, I promise you.
I know. Shit. Let me tell you what, I'm 42, and it's been a tough fucking 42 for me.
Yeah.
Been a blast, but I had a little bit too fun, and then I found myself in a lot of situations that I wish I never was in. So,
yeah. I came in with nothing. I'll leave with nothing, but I've enjoyed the bit in the middle.
Absolutely. Yeah, we were talking earlier. Man, I'm telling you, I'm sober right now, Charlie. I mean, I don't know. Maybe for the Pulev Joshua fight, I'll get out there. We'll hit some pubs together.
Exactly. That'd be great, wouldn't it? Absolutely brilliant.
Oh God, I can tell you're a blast, man. I can tell you're a blast to go out with.
We have a lot of fun.
Oh, so it's gonna be amazing. So I guess let's take some questions from people. There's a question that someone asked that what should they do with the money in the bank? What do you do with that? I mean, and they're taking away cash. Hold on. So it's a two-part question. So
Yeah.
part of it is, obviously, a lot of places are not accepting cash. Can you elaborate on that? And then what do they do with their money in the bank?
Yeah. If it's less than 75,000, you're insured if the bank goes bankrupt, because a lot of banks will go bankrupt in the next 6 months, probably around September.
Okay, hold on. You're saying banks will go bankrupt in the next 6 months?
Yeah, they will. 100.
And then you're not going to be able to use cash.
Sorry?
And then that's why they're taking away cash.
They're in trouble right now. They're deep in trouble. And the new quantum financial system is basically the behind the quantum financial system is blockchain, which Bitcoin and Ethereum and the other ones use. Ripple use these ones. So it'll be a digital currency, but there will still be cash, but not on the same level as there has been. There will still be cash.
But not the cash that we're using now, not the Federal Reserve notes.
No, there'll be new banknotes, but there won't be that. Most people will want to use the digital currency because it'll be an awful lot easier to use, especially for business, because you'll be able to pay people instantaneously, and they'll be able to pay you instantaneously, like the Bitcoin trading at the moment. So it'll make life easier, but there will still be cash out there, but there'll be less of it.
Okay.
The transition will take time. It will take a number of years to go through, but I think it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. There'll still be cash out there, but when it comes to banks going bankrupt, if you've got more than 75,000 in the bank in cash, I'd be looking to take it out and put it into silver or gold, one of the two, because they're both. Wow. Unless you are 100% sure that your money is safe. But when a bank goes bankrupt, the central bank will always cover you for 75,000. But it does take time. I've lost money in banks that have gone bankrupt, and it took me 2 years to get my money from the insurers.
God.
You just need to be wise, that's all.
Whew, that's heavy, man. You want to take some questions, Charlie, from the people?
Yeah, by all means.
Someone did ask, do you know anything about JFK Jr. being alive or dead?
I don't. I've heard a number of things, and I'm one of those that I'm just sitting back waiting to see, because you hear all these things, and then what I've tried to do, David, is keep away from the conspiracy and just stick with the facts.
So am I.
And it's
very easy to get sucked into it too.
With JFK Jr., with Princess Diana, with lots of other things, it's so easy to get distracted. So I've made a conscious effort not to. And yeah, I've heard things, and I'll sit back and wait, because the whole of my journey has been based on factual evidence. So when I say factual evidence, is I was told something was going to happen, and it happened. That's how you establish fact. And so far, everything I've been told has turned out to be fact. That's not to say that I take everything that I'm told as being factual. Right. I'm sure they send me some sort of sidewinders and curveballs. I'm sure they do. But the bulk of what they're telling me is factual, is all factual. And I'm trying to stick to that, because that's what's giving people peace of mind and taking away their fear.
Correct.
Yes, then I'll lose the audience of people who are looking for facts. And when I talk about facts, I'm very happy to share where I've got those facts from. I tend to get them from government websites where they hide them away. But we've got some clever boys who go searching for the stuff and find it when it's hidden away. Like the CDC has so much information, it's so hard to find if you just log into their site.
Right. Yeah, they make it hard.
Yeah, they make it hard to find, but it has to be there by law. But you have to go through page after page after page, and then you get links that you can't really see on the page that are just sort of hidden in the page that take you to it. It's like, really? Then you know how corrupt they are, that they're not allowed to find that information.
Someone asked a pretty interesting question, which I want to get your take on this. And I've heard that he's actually a traitor and an enemy, but I don't have proof of that. But I've heard is Pence. What do you know about Vice Pence?
Look, when I've been told about a number of people, Pence I've been told about, and I've been told about Robert Kennedy Jr. I've been told, and they've just said just be careful with them and watch them, and I'm quite happy to do that. Information is power. When people say just be careful, you just go, okay, I'll be careful, and I'll make my own mind up based on what he says and what he does and the way I feel about him. So you look at them with caution.
So we really, I guess the jury's out on Pence, I guess you could say.
Certainly from my point of view, but you have to be aware. There's nothing wrong with being aware and just keeping your eyes open. Nothing at all.
Let me see who else has a question. Anybody else have questions? I know there's a lot of them. Pence, Tory Smith, Mike is to the clone. I saw a question earlier. Have you heard of any big names that have been killed or taken out executed?
I have. I've heard of lots of big names, but I've got no hard evidence to back it up. So I know that I've got hard evidence they've been arrested and charged, but I haven't got the evidence that they've been killed. I've heard they've been killed. And again, this is where I don't want to get into the conspiracies. And I've heard about body doubles, and I've heard about clones and all this sort of thing. This is all conspiracy at this stage. So I try and avoid that and just be aware of what they're talking about and say, okay. And, you look at I look at the moment at certain people, they don't look like they did look.
Yeah, like clones.
They do look like clones. There's quite a few of them that are not what I would call the perfect match. And the giveaways is like the connection of the ear. There's a couple of them, their ears, in real life, compared to now, they've got earlobes where they didn't have before. And I'm not going to mention their names, but I think most people know who I'm talking about. There's quite a few of them there. There's certain things just don't quite match up. And it's very much like when you have a piece to put in a puzzle, and it goes in upside down and it fits, but it doesn't look right.
Right, yeah.
Where we're going through right now, and you have to take the piece out and look at it again and go, okay. But rather than getting the conspiracy side, I stick to the factual side. Yes, I know they've been arrested. I know they've been charged. Some are on license. Some have been executed. I know that, but I don't know who.
But this is all going to come out. From what I understand, I was told this is all going to come out.
It'll all come out.
At some point.
What I understand.
What's your thoughts on the another question that came up? What's your thoughts on the? I know you're tired, Charlie. I know it's 5 a.m. over there, and you were having a good time earlier, weren't you?
Yeah. And no problem at all.
All right. So, what about microchips? Is this Nassara Jassara going to have? I know the globalists wanted the microchips, but is that also going to be implemented with Nassara Jassara? Because if that's the mark of the beast right there, man. I can't. People are not going to take that unless they're forced into it.
The track and trace, the chips, is all part of the deep state. Nassara Jassara is part of Donald Trump's team. That's what the plan is, and they're working towards it. But now, when it comes to the vaccines, the chips, the track and trace, the 5G tracking, and all the rest of it, that's all part of the deep state agenda, the New World Order. That's what they were planning, and that's what Trump is determined to take down. He's doing a phenomenal job right now.
Well, that's also where Bill Gates comes in, right? That's Bill Gates is the one that's implementing this.
Of course he is. That's what he's trying.
That guy, he himself even looks like a fucking clone. I mean, he probably is, because they're controlling him. It's a much easier way to control somebody when you kill him and then make a clone.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't realize that a lot of celebrities are clones. Their handlers take them out, and this technology does exist where their handlers take them out. A lot of it happens with musicians, and you're wondering why. You wonder, dang, that musician used to make really good music. It's like he lost his creative flow. And then the next thing you know, he's making music, but it just sucks. And it's like, and I think that has to do with being a clone.
It's also like the adrenochrome.
Adrenochrome, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these Hollywood set have been taking. I didn't realize how addictive it was. And of course, a lot of the people that haven't been able to get hold of it during the lockdown will have died because of not being able to get hold of it. It's like a heroin addict. They'll just A lot of these will have fallen apart and died of natural causes because of the fact that they haven't been able to get their fix, if you like, or they might have even committed suicide. So there'll be a number of different reasons why.
Yeah, I mean, I've known about adrenochrome for many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, man, I'm just happy to see these pieces of shit go down because, it's people don't realize how evil this black channel of demonic, I like to say that it's you could say reptilians or demons, but they are off-world.
Yeah.
People need to understand this. We are dealing with off-world entities.
Yeah.
And that is what controls humanity.
Yeah.
And I guess we're trying to break away and find our freedom for the first time in,
living memory.
Yeah. I mean, that's where we're at now. So, I mean, I know that this is epic times to be alive. It's historic. We got a little bit of time left. Let's take some more. Is Trump on adrenochrome? No. Trump doesn't even drink alcohol.
Correct.
Let's see who is the number one person of the deep state Illuminati? Would you say Queen Elizabeth?
As we said earlier, you've got her at the top. You had the Pope. You have the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, George Soros. You have a number of people at the top. Not being a part of it, I wouldn't know exactly who's at the top. You'd need to be on the inside to know that. And I've never been on the inside and wouldn't want to be.
Let me see what else is here. Go champ. All right. Yeah, I keep wanting to talk about boxing, but no. People are here for, let's see. Rockefellers and Rothschilds. What's your thoughts on them?
Well, they're both.
They're the top, right? I mean, that's an obvious.
Yeah, of course they are. They've controlled the world for years because they controlled the Federal Reserve. It was their business. It was their company, printing money and selling it to people. It was so corrupt you couldn't make it up.
We got 1:30 left, Charlie. So let's get one more question in here, and then let me see here. Anybody else got a question? What about student loans?
Well, the student loans were the first ones that we saw starting to be forgiven in America. That was the first ones we saw. And that was, it started about 4 to 6 weeks ago. That they started to disappear. And the thing is there's never been a tangible way of finding out why, because they just disappeared. And the banks couldn't answer it. Nobody could answer it. They just disappeared. They were the first ones to disappear.
All right, so we got 50 seconds remaining. And someone asked, Mike Tyson or Roy Jones, who do you got? They're both old as fuck. But it's like, hey, who do you got? I got Mike Tyson.
Tyson, because of his history, but we haven't seen him box for so many years.
Yeah.
He just
but I mean, I'll tell you what, he's strong. Roy Jones' chin is suspect. Listen, they're both old. I mean, still great fighters in their prime, the best fighters in their prime. But let's see we're still watching two old people fight. I mean, who knows? I mean,
from either of them could kill the other one.
Yeah. Well, hey, Charlie, thank you. We're out of time, man. I love you, man. I got to get out. We're going to go to the Anthony Joshua Pulev fight in London, and we're going to go to a pub.
Brilliant. Absolutely love to.
All right.
Cheers, mate. All the best.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers.
Notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.